as the ladies like to say, Brazil is once again positioning itself as a major player in the future of global agriculture. And increasingly, Africa is paying close attention. From cutting-edge agricultural technology at Agrishow 2026 to conversations around livestock genetics, food production and agribusiness partnerships, there's growing interest in what collaboration between Brazil and Africa could mean for food security and economic growth on the continent. Now, joining us now is our very own Dashan Osman, who's been across the Atlantic taking it all in. Dashan, I so wish you were here with us this week, but it's great to see you covering this super interesting event.
Yes. Thank you so much, Afia. It's funny how the tables have turned, right?
It's usually me in the box in the middle and you here, right?
Yes. All right, Dashan, you're wrapping up your time at the Agrishow 2026. And the word on the street is that it was massive. I almost said Egungu.
Massive, baby.
Yeah. How would you describe what's happening in Brazilian fields to someone who has never been there?
First of all, let me say this. I miss you ladies so much. And everything has actually been wrapped up yesterday. It has been really intense. It has been overwhelming. And I mean this in the best way possible. There were thousands of people on that day, and I mean thousands. They kept flocking in from all around the world. It was basically the heartbeat of global, agribusiness, and you could actually feel the energy and the deals being made. I think I've met people from not just from Africa, from other parts of the world, Bangladesh, Russia. Italy, Spain, and the like. So the Agrishow in itself actually spread across, a very large expanse. And I'm here to tell you that because there are so many stalls. It was so big, I could not even go through everything. I just went to where I could, and then I came back. So, this actually made it one of the largest agricultural technology events, and I spoke to the director on that day, and she did say that it is the second largest in the world. It was like every major player in the world was there to, see and witness how technology is actually transforming both crop and animal livestock in real time. So, what really made it special again was the connection. People were there, blending in, it wasn't about looking at the tractors or the equipment or the drones that were there. So many deals were made. People went back home, happy and excited that, at least food security in their countries will be improved after that moment.
All right, so Dashan, we saw the Kenyan ambassador and other delegates taking a very active interest in the displays. What do you think is drawing African leadership so strongly to this specific Brazilian event?
Catherine, who not like better thing? Like I said, honestly, everybody was there. I think the Brazilians have actually shown that, whatever it is that they're doing is working. And that was why, there were so many people there. They were there, other delegates were there, not just the Kenyan ambassador. I think amongst the African mission, the Kenyan delegates were even more. They were up to 22 or even 30, if I even counted myself, while others actually had 5, 6, or 7 delegates. They were actually there because Brazil has already solved the puzzle that so many nations, especially African nations, are currently working on. That's how to farm successfully in a tropical climate. And the good thing is, their climate is a lot similar to that of Africa. So, whatever works here would actually work back in Africa as well. And even their soils, the DNA in their landscape, is quite similar as well. Because when you look at the Brazilian Zebu bull, you would imagine what we're doing in Nigeria, because our bulls look like dogs compared to the ones in Brazil. They are massive. I asked, and they said a Zebu bull, you can actually get 1,000 tons of meat from just one Zebu bull. They're really big and hefty. If you stand close to it, they look like aliens, right? So there's seen solutions that is already adapted to the heat and the soil of the global south. And, it's about finding a blueprint that actually works for us. Agrishow actually allowed that to happen. Visitors interacted directly with manufacturers, suppliers of most of these advanced technologies. So it was a networking chance. And even the Brazilians were excited to network with other continents or other countries.
So, Dasha, we're looking at the pictures of the bulls, and I remember one video you sent in. Somebody was standing beside the bull's head was higher. The bull's head was above the guy's head. And I'm looking at these bulls, I'm thinking about the type of suya. And the type of stew. But some Nigerians will tell you that it's because of all the stress our cows go through, that's why the meat is sweet. Stop it. That's stop it.
Tolu, let me tell you, that guy standing beside the bull was a lot bigger than I was. If I had stood there, I would have been like a child. And these bulls do not go through any stress. All they do is sit there, eat, sleep, poo. They even wash them. Nothing. Because they don't walk. They're not in any form of. So the idea is to distress them. It's not the way you move them around like nomads in Africa. No. They have their own controlled space, and then it's neat. As soon as they pull, they pack it, move. So all they do is have to eat, enjoy life. It's like they're on a vacation. So why wouldn't they grow that big?
So when we know, as you said, that Brazil is quite famous for its cattle genetics. And why do you think it's so vital to bring these specific Brazilian Zebu genetics over to African herds right now? So you're talking about crossbreeding. You're talking about being able to take the best genetic parts of these bulls and see how we can implement it or impart it or use all the scientific mechanisms we have to bring the best of those animals into the livestock we have here, which need to be hardy because of how things are here. But you talked about the fact that the weather is similar, the outlay of the land is similar. So what is it about the genetics, and why are we trying to find a way to make sure that we learn from them?
It all comes down to resilience and production speed. I was speaking to one of, I think, the staff of Zebu Embryo, and they did say that, normally a cow would actually give birth to one child per year. And, how does that solve anything? So what they do is, they find ways of semen, embryo, they mix it and the likes. And then a calf might end up giving birth to, a lot more calves, in a year. Every 4 months or twice in a year, just to get more meat or more dairy. So it all comes down to resilience and also production speed. They talked about the model farm for Brazilian tropical livestock in Africa project. That is what it is. And it stresses using Brazilian genetics. So semen and embryos are used to create breeding stock, that thrives in our climate. And these animals are actually chosen for their ability to gain weight quickly. That's if you need dairy as well, and also produce high quality meat, even in hot climates. I also went to a farm, was it the Fazenda Floresta? And it is an all-female farm, Tolu, because that particular farm was specifically for dairy production. So all they did was give birth, then they milk them, and then that is it. Dairy production, and they produce over 40 liters of milk, and they ship it worldwide as well. So by using some of these advanced tools like, fixed time artificial insemination, or even fixed time embryo transfer, Nigeria or Africa can actually multiply this high genetic value cattle much faster than, traditional breeding actually allows. So.
Very interesting. I'm wondering if you'll bring one of the Zebu cows back for us. At least let's have a party on it. Anyway, I know that you talked about, deals being made, agreements. Did you see, are there any physical ones that you know of any agreement or partnership deals that, were struck during this time? Did Nigeria make any call? Did any African country, push forward on some of those technologies that you witnessed?
Lala, this is like a proud moment for me because while I was, doing the reporting, I felt proud because only Nigeria signed that deal, and they signed it in partnership with Sarman Farms. It was really a proud moment because those people are doing really, really well in Kano State. But then, if you think of it, it could be more only if the problem of insecurity is fixed. But the reason why they're able to move forward is because it's quite safe where they are, and it's like what they agreed on is like a hands-on hub designed to take Brazil's deep experience into tropical livestock and also reshape it for Nigeria. So the farmers do not even just sit there because there'll be hands-on learning. There'll be dedicated beef and dairy sections that walk farmers through every step, from breeding stronger animals to producing high quality milk. So it's about showing how it works and why it works. And that way, at least through them, other farms interested can actually come through them, learn, and take back to their farms, within Nigeria. So the real issue or the driving force here is technology. And, Toludi talk about artificial insemination and, embryo transfer to improve the herd quality quickly. A lot of things were discussed, but the bigger goal, though, is producing more meat, more milk, while building herds that can handle our climate at the same time. That's it.
Thank you so much, Dash, and thank you for all your hard work. Safe journey home, and we will see you soon.
You won't.
I will.
Yeah.
The rest of us will see you.
Again.
You want.
Thank you so much, Dash, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Afia.